Imagine typing a quick script into your phone while you're just sitting there drinking your morning coffee.
Right, just hanging out in your kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. And by the time you sit down for dinner, you have this fully cast, color graded, and like professionally sound mixed video that is just ready to go viral.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
No cameras, no lighting crew.
Right. No editing bay at all. Just you, a raw idea, and an algorithm. Welcome to our deep dive. Our mission today is to explore this really fascinating case study from an article titled The 24-Hour AI Shift from Text to Viral Video.
It's a great piece, really eye-opening.
It really is. And, whether you are a professional trying to optimize your daily workflow, or maybe a student looking for a better way to present your ideas, or honestly, just someone who is insanely curious about how technology is fundamentally changing human communication, this deep dive is for you.
Okay.
Because we are going to look at how the walls between written text and visual media are just collapsing right before our eyes. Okay, let's unpack this. How on earth does someone actually execute a 24-hour turnaround without picking up a single camera? Let's establish the technical baseline here.
Yeah, so the baseline is this entirely new ecosystem of AI tools. And they don't just speed up video production, right? They entirely automate the pipeline. The creator in this specific 24-hour sprint, they primarily relied on script-to-visual narrative generators.
Okay, but how does the AI actually read a script and know what to show? I mean, it's not like it has an imagination.
Well, no, it doesn't have an imagination, but it has incredibly advanced natural language processing. So it's not just looking at the literal words on the page, it's actually extracting the sentiment, the context, and the core keywords.
So it's reading between the lines, basically.
Exactly. Like if your script says, it was a melancholic evening in the concrete jungle, the AI isn't just searching a hard drive for a literal picture of a jungle.
Right, with monkeys and vines.
Yeah, exactly. It understands the poetic context, so it searches these vast, integrated stock footage libraries for metadata that's tagged with stuff like dark, urban, moody, and cityscape.
Wow. And then it just drops those clips onto a timeline?
It does way more than just drop them. It actually handles the automated editing and the auto-scene selection. It analyzes the pacing of the generated voiceover, and then it cuts the visual clips to match the rhythm of the speech.
Wait, really? So if the voiceover speeds up...
The cuts get faster.
Yeah.
It builds the momentum
Yeah,
visually.
that handles the visual side, which is amazing, but bad audio will ruin a video way faster than bad video will.
Oh, 100%. Which is why these tools also take over the sound mixing. They employ dynamic audio leveling. It's often called auto-ducking.
Auto-ducking.
Yeah. So when the voiceover is speaking, the AI automatically dips or ducks the volume of the background music. And then when there's a pause in the speech, it swells the music back up to fill the silence.
That is so smart.
It can even pull contextual Foley sound effects.
Yeah.
So like distant traffic or rain, all based on the visual tags of the scene it just selected.
It's like having an entire Hollywood production studio, like a director, an editor, a sound mixer, just magically compressed into an app on your smartphone. You just hand them the script and the whole crew goes to work.
What's fascinating here is how these tools remove the traditional technical hurdles. Historically, you might have had a brilliant world-changing story in your head.
Sure.
But if you didn't know how to color balance a shot or how to keyframe an audio track in Premiere or whatever, your story was trapped.
It could never be a video.
Right.
Yeah.
It was locked as text. By offloading that mechanical execution to the machine, the user is suddenly free to focus strictly on the storytelling.
Which brings up a really important question. If the technical barriers are just gone and, anyone can spin up a video in an afternoon, why is everyone rushing to do it? Like, why not just publish the text and call it a day?
Well, it comes down to the raw power of visual storytelling.
Yeah.
We are biologically hardwired to process visuals thousands of times faster than we process text.
Thousands of times.
Yeah, it's immediate. So when you turn a dense, 10-page document into a 60-second animated video, you are bypassing a massive amount of cognitive friction.
Cognitive friction, I really like that term, because reading does require active effort. You have to decode the symbols on the page, hold all those concepts in your working memory.
And build the image in your own head.
Yes, exactly. Work.
It's work.
Yeah.
Visuals, on the other hand, inject the message directly into the viewer's emotional center. A well-placed infographic, or even just a subtle change in lighting, can convey a complex emotional tone in a fraction of a second.
Which you'd need 3 paragraphs to describe in text.
Exactly. Plus, this caters to how diverse our learning preferences actually are today. We live in a multimedia world. While a portion of the population loves sitting down with a long-form essay, a massive segment learns and engages far better through visual and auditory inputs.
So converting text to video isn't about like dumbing down the message. It's actually about formatting the message so it gets absorbed by the people who need to hear it.
You're broadening the reach without diluting the core idea.
Hmm.
But there is a secondary benefit here from the creator side. Automating all these mundane tasks, the data collection, the formatting, the preliminary editing, actually acts as a massive catalyst for human creativity.
Okay, wait, I have to play devil's advocate and push back on that. Handing over the creative choices to a machine sounds like the exact opposite of art. If a robot is automatically picking scenes and deciding how long a shot should linger, isn't that just a cold, formulaic process? How does that make the human creator more creative?
I get that. It's a very natural assumption to make that automation kills the soul of the work. But the source text actually points out that in practice, we see something totally counterintuitive.
I see.
Well, first, there's the energy conservation aspect. Because you aren't burning your mental bandwidth on the mind-numbing logistics of timeline management, you have a massive reservoir of energy left for high-level ideation.
So you can focus on the why of the story rather than the how.
Exactly. But it goes deeper than that. The AI actually contributes to the creative spark through unexpected outcomes. We often call these hallucinations or machine quirks.
Oh, like when the AI generates something totally bizarre?
Yes. When an AI generates a visual sequence, it doesn't think like a human. Algorithms can produce results that challenge traditional creative boundaries. It might pair a very profound line of dialogue with a wildly abstract visual that a human editor would never have considered.
Like a weird juxtaposition that suddenly makes the scene feel completely fresh.
Precisely. It acts as a prompt. It's like having this eccentric brainstorming partner
Yeah.
who just throws out bizarre ideas. Even if you reject their exact suggestion, the sheer weirdness of it knocks your brain out of its usual rut.
It forces you to rethink your approach.
Right. And because the penalty for failure is just a few seconds of rendering time instead of, 3 days of manual re-editing, you are infinitely more likely to take massive creative risks.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. If the cost of trying a wild idea is zero, you're going to try a lot more wild ideas. It sounds like a creator's utopia. But let's bring this back down to reality for a second. Executing all of this at breakneck speed, going from a blank page to a finished, published video in 24 hours cannot possibly be foolproof. What is the catch here?
Oh, there is absolutely a catch. It's a severe quality dilemma. When you compress the production timeline that aggressively, the risk of structural oversight just skyrockets.
Like mistakes slipping through the cracks.
Yeah. The most glaring issue the article mentions in these rapid turnarounds is a collapse in narrative coherence.
Because the AI doesn't actually understand the story it's telling.
Right. The AI understands the tags and the metadata. It can stitch together 5 scenes that are each visually stunning on their own. But when you play them back to back, they might lack any logical progression. The emotional thread just vanishes.
It sounds like AI is handing someone the keys to a Formula One car before they've even taken driver's ed. Sure, you can go incredibly fast, but without the right training and quality control, you're going to crash your narrative.
That is a perfect analogy, and this is why there is such a steep learning curve with these platforms. The marketing often implies that video generation is now, effortless. But the reality is, you can't just push a button and walk away.
You have to babysit it.
You have to aggressively babysit it. The human creator has to remain the final arbiter of quality. You need a rigorous review process to catch those moments where the AI's logic fails. The text really stresses that the most successful creators in this space treat the AI as a collaborative partner, not a total replacement.
So it's a loop. You feed the machine an idea, you review its output, you correct its mistakes, and you refine your own prompts.
Exactly. You are constantly managing the output.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. If the AI is the one analyzing the audience, drafting the script, picking the shots, leveling the audio, and throwing out the bizarre creative prompts that inspire the final product, are we even the authors anymore? Or are we just becoming like middle management editors of machine thought?
That is the big philosophical question. If we connect this to the bigger picture, we are definitely transitioning. The definition of an author is expanding to include roles like curator and collaborator. But rather than mourning the loss of the solo auteur, we should look at the incredible democratizing force this unleashes.
Because it lowers the barrier to entry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Diverse voices, people who never had the financial backing or technical training to produce high-level multimedia, can now emerge and gain traction. They can blend their human ingenuity with machine intelligence. And what's wild is that this cross-industry impact is expanding way beyond just entertainment.
Right, because this instant translation of text into dynamic media, we're seeing this bleed into totally unrelated fields.
Oh, absolutely. The underlying mechanism is revolutionizing fields like healthcare, for example.
Okay, walk me through that. How does an AI video generator change a hospital?
Think about predictive analytics for personalized treatment. Imagine a patient with a very complex medical history. Their file is a 50-page PDF of text, lab results, and historical data.
Which a doctor barely has time to read.
Exactly. A doctor has limited time to parse every single trend line. An AI system can ingest that text, cross-reference it with global medical databases in seconds, and generate a dynamic, highly personalized care plan.
So instead of the doctor reading a static text file, the AI highlights the exact risk factors that matter today.
Yes, and it can even generate a visual dashboard or a short animated explainer for the patient. It can visually show them, based on their specific blood work, how their new diet will affect their arterial health over the next 6 months.
Oh, wow. So it translates intimidating medical jargon into a clear visual narrative that the patient can actually understand.
Exactly. And you can apply that exact same logic to education. Adapting learning materials to individual student performance is one of the most exciting frontiers here.
I can imagine. Think about a student who is struggling with a dense, text-heavy chapter on cellular biology,
Right, and the traditional approach is just to make them read it again.
which usually just frustrates them even more.
Exactly. But an AI-integrated learning platform can detect that the student is stuck. In real time, it can take the text they are failing to grasp and generate a customized 3D animation of a cell, narrated in a style that matches that specific student's learning level.
That is unbelievable. So it bridges the gap between the complex material and the student's unique cognitive needs right on the fly.
Precisely. Whether it's a creator trying to reach an audience, a doctor explaining a diagnosis, or a teacher trying to unlock a student's potential, the technology identifies the bottleneck, the text, and visually bridges the gap.
It's the ultimate synthesis of human vision and machine efficiency.
It really is.
So what does this all mean? Let's bring this all together for you, the listener. What we've discovered through this deep dive is that the leap from a blank page of text to a polished, dynamic video in 24 hours is no longer science fiction. It is an everyday reality.
It's happening right now.
AI is stepping up as an incredibly capable co-creator. It frees us from those mundane production tasks, provided we navigate the learning curve and maintain strict quality control. You now have access to this very same democratization of storytelling.
But as you start experimenting in this new landscape, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over. We know from the text that these algorithms can perfectly analyze audience preferences in real time, generating exactly what viewers want with ruthless efficiency.
Right.
But if AI content becomes perfectly tailored to our expectations, optimizing away every single point of friction, will we eventually lose the beautiful, happy accidents and human errors that have defined boundary-pushing art for centuries?
That is a massive question, and one we are all going to have to navigate as we continue to build alongside these machines. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and we'll catch you next time.